Hi guys, it's Ariel. So today the camera's moving. Stop it, camera. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this because I keep having issues trying to film this damn video and I'm sick of it. Hopefully the lighting's okay. Hopefully everything's just okay. Bear with me. I'm still trying to figure out everything because I rearranged and then I didn't consider the fact that the setup that I had made might not be right and all sorts of stuff, so bear with me. Plus I've had camera issues and I'm hoping I don't have any more of those. Anyway, this is going to be basically a recap video, and I only decided to do this honestly because I've made videos about every other concert I've ever been to. I'm talking really fast. And I just sort of felt it would just make sense to go ahead and make a video about this one too, even though I put a ton of footage up about this concert, and it just seemed unfair considering I've made videos about every other concert not to make one about this one. And this was honestly one of the best shows I'd ever been to. I haven't even said the name of the concert yet. You could see that by the title, I'm sure. It's down there. It's the Zach Myers and Justin Moore acoustic show that also featured Elysium and Dolt. And Dolt is a local band, and I'm just going to say whatever comes to my mind as quickly as it comes to my mind because frankly I've had so many camera issues that I kind of don't even want to film this anymore, and I really hope you guys can understand me because I really feel like I'm talking extra fast right now. But it's really not good because I kind of need a drink. Anyway, so this show happened on April 7th, 2014, and it was at a little place called Yabo. Apparently that's an Australian word for bum, for a lazy bum. And it was a really cool show. I'd never been to an acoustic show before, and I'm just going to like brush over some of the details that I didn't talk about either on the Facebook page and showed in a video, because I didn't show awful much honestly in the vlog or any of the concert footage. All of that will be linked in the description box. Actually, it's all in a playlist, so hopefully you'll be able to see that. I'll just link the playlist. But a lot has come out of the show, actually. I wrote an article about it, and that's why I'm just going to breeze over some of the stuff that I haven't talked about anywhere, because I really feel like I can't do it justice verbally. I did write an article about it, and it was apparently really good because several people have told me it was really good. I worked really hard on it, and I am honored to say that Shinedown shared it, and that is a dream come true for me. Not for Shinedown to share something specifically, just for a band to share something of my work that I wrote for them, like a bigger band, and it happened. So that's just, it's the first of many goals for me, and that was a very big deal to me, and I am honored completely. And honestly, I have a lot, I owe a lot of that to the lead singer of Elysium. Actually, his name is Nate Compton. I sent him the article along with an interview that I did with him. Again, will be linked in the description box. I was supposed to do the interview with him in person. It was kind of an impromptu thing, but we ended up not having time, and then we were going to do the interview the next day, but again, we didn't have time. It is really hot in here. I don't know what I'm saying. I'll get back to this. I just need to do something about the heat in here. Okay, back to what I was saying. If you can hear the fan, I'm sorry. It is hot in here. That makes it better. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I did this interview with Nate from Elysium over email because of just scheduling conflicts. It just wasn't working. And what happened was he shared it and tagged Zach in it, and I made a video about my reaction. I'm not entirely proud of my reaction, but it was a really big deal. It was a shock to me, and I was very emotional about it. Apparently, you can watch the video. Like I said, it'll be in that playlist. But I really thank him for that, just because had he not shared it and tagged Zach, I don't think any of it would have happened. and he was a really cool guy. Elysium was incredible live. Honestly, they reminded me of, well, they didn't remind me of, because I honestly don't listen to Tool. They reminded my best friend Jeremy of Tool, and he showed me the next day, like, in comparison, and Nate does. He sounds just like Maynard James Keenan. I apologize if that's not his name. Anyway, they put on one hell of a performance, and he also, Nate himself, did a cover of Snuff by Slipknot, which again is in video form. You can watch it. It's in video form? Why did I just say I have a video of it? I don't know. Anyway, God, I can't film today. Anyway, they did a really, really good job. They made a great first impression, honestly, on everybody. And before they were up, actually, was Dolt. I'm just doing this, like I said, in very random order. There's a lot to do here, so I will bounce back and forth, and I apologize if this is an extremely long, very random video. Like I said, I've had some issues today. It isn't working too well, so hopefully you like it. I don't know what I'm doing with my hair, but whatever. No, so before that, Dolt got on stage, and they were angrily acoustic, and I liked how that sounded, so I enjoyed it. And they were really nice and gave myself and Jeremy both t-shirts I would show you, but it is in a laundry basket that is behind the camera, and I don't know, to be perfectly honest, which shirt it is, because it's a black shirt. Eventually I will get a picture of it and put it on Facebook. Or I'll insert a picture if I get around to doing that. But anyway, they were just really cool, and they also kept having people not get their band name right. Their name is Dolt, and everyone kept calling them Bolt. And as most bands do, they introduced themselves, well, the lead singer Tyler introduced them as We Are Dolt, and someone, somehow, I don't quite remember the context, because this was a little over a week ago, and it was a very long, very eventful night. That was well worth it, but very long, very eventful, so some details may have been forgotten. He was like, We Are Dolt, and somebody asked him what their name was again. He's like, We Are Dolt. And this happened 4 or 5 times during the set, and then this one lady was like, What's your name? And he was like, I am Tyler. And she's like, Oh, I knew that. What's your band name? And he's like, We Are Dolt. And it just became like a whole joke, the whole set, and I thought it was very funny, and I don't know, I just liked it, and they set a really good feel for the whole night. I really figured it would be very mellow, because I'd never been to an acoustic show, as I've said, and I kind of figured it'd be very calm the whole night, like possibly struggling to stay awake, and it wasn't like that at all. Maybe the first song or two, but that was just because after I was walking around taking pictures, I felt kind of like I was in people's way, so I just sat down and was taking pictures. And that was another interesting thing, is being able to sit about 3 feet away from the stage. It's like, you know, it's totally different, honestly, from being in front of the barricade, standing in front of the barricade or behind the barricade, because there was no barricade and we all were just sitting, and I thought that was interesting. And somehow, even though I wasn't moving around like crazy, I was still dead tired and kind of sore the next day. I don't know what that was about, but it was well worth it. That's a sign you had a good time at a concert, is if you are tired and sore the next day. But no, they did great. Elysium did great. And Zach and Justin, oh, they were interesting. They actually did a really long set. Well, it seemed really long to the rest of us. Apparently, according to Zach's tour manager, this was a short set for them. They've been playing up to 3.5 hours long, just because they could. And I really loved their banter. At one point, you know, they were talking about the fact that nobody seems to know who Justin is. The thing is, another guy with the same name is a country artist They came out, I guess, right about the same time or something, and everyone thinks that he is him, and like nobody seems to know that this Justin exists. He is in the band Ingram Hill. Very, very talented. He's a sweetheart. And I really think, I don't know anything about the country artist, but I really think that this Justin is much, much cooler. My hair is like flying away, I can see it. I'm not high, I swear. I am tired though, and just, I don't know. I lose attention span when the camera gets turned on, and even more so when I've had camera issues. But anyway, they were, you know, joking about that, and Zach at one point was talking about Justin and said, well, you're a lot cooler and way more handsome than that guy. And he said something about being really more talented too, and he's like, I feel like I'm hitting on you. And on and off through the whole set too, it was like they would clearly be discussing something, like as they were playing they were talking, but every time they'd like lean in, it looks like they were going to like kiss or something, and I'm like, if you do this, I need to get this on camera, just for evidence. That'd be a funny memory. And they were just having a great time. They were making each other laugh during the set. They were just rocking out. You could tell they were just two friends making music, and I thought that was awesome. Honestly, they made me decide that every single band should do a tour like this, where they don't have a set list, they're just goofing off, having a good time. And that was something else that was really interesting, is they did not have a set list. They were playing whatever the hell they wanted every single night for as long as they wanted. Zach even said when they first got on stage that this show could go on for as long as they wanted, but the only thing was he really wanted people to sing along. And I hope you heard that, because that was my mom laughing at something on the TV, I believe. But no, it was like they were just hanging out, having a good time, and it was great. One of the first songs they actually got people singing on was 45. If you guys don't know it, I don't know how you don't know it. And I got a video of it, and that was probably the first one they really got anybody singing on. And what I love is how, and that I got this on tape, is how Zach just went at the end smiling. It was like, I have the coolest fucking job in the world. And I just thought that was so great that you could tell he was into it. Now, I have seen Shinedown before, and honestly, I have noticed how into it he gets, and how much fun he's clearly just having. In fact, last year, actually, I happened to be on his side of the stage for their performance, and he was really actually just having a good time. I could see that he just was in his own little world rocking out, and I just thought it was kind of in a way adorable. Not in like a fangirl, oh my god he's so cute way, in a aww, like I would do it if one of my friends was acting like that. And I did the same thing with their friendship that night. It was just so sweet to see them both caring and just being involved and enjoying each other's company while making music, and it was just cool. And I can't really like remember off the top of my head too much of their banter that was like really worth saying, but one thing, it kind of irritates me that my camera didn't pick it up. During Unity, which I was in love with, I'm so glad they played that. They should release an acoustic version of that song. They really should, because that's one of my favorite Shinedown songs, so I was thrilled when they started playing that. And at one point, you hear me on the video say, "Aww," and Jeremy asked what, and I explained, but you don't hear that Zach said, he pulled away from the microphone and said to Justin, "This is our song." And I'm like, "Aw, that's so sweet." And, they just were, like, talking and playing, like, their favorite songs, and then, like, by themselves and by other people, and were rocking out. And at one point, I did get it on video, I think. I hope I got it on video. I don't know. At one point, I think I did get it on video, but I haven't noticed what video it's in. At one point, Justin himself was just singing, having a good time. And, actually, I don't know where that footage went. Huh. Well, I hope I didn't lose that footage somehow, because that was good footage. Anyway, Justin was singing one of his songs, and I admit I didn't know what it was. But Justin was up there, and Zach sat down at the piano. Like, I feel like he kind of reminded me of a small child. He sat down, as you all call it when you're little, crisscross applesauce, or Indian style. And, he sat down like that on the bench for the piano, was sitting there eating candy and texting. And then he started walking around the stage. He took a picture with Zach, or with, Justin while he was singing. You could see Justin's trying not to laugh. I almost got a picture of that, but he moved just at the wrong second. But, and he also then, every time Justin got to the chorus of this one song, he would do this. He would, like, stand up and wave, trying to get people to do it, and then he'd sit back down. And then at one point he did that and then just sat down on the floor, like in front of the stage. If I can find the footage, that'd be lovely. I'm hoping it's going to be in Sunday's video. Which by then you would have already seen it, but it isn't up when I was filming this. Because he just sits down on the floor and smiles and gives him 2 thumbs up and says, "It looks good down here." And I just thought that was so sweet. That he's so encouraging to his best friend. I found out while doing the interview that they've been best friends for 15 years. And the really cool thing about that interview was I had asked in advance to get it, but I did not get a response, and his tour manager said to me that he meant to respond to me, but he lost my email and couldn't, and then I said that I should have emailed him again, but I felt rude doing that. He told me I should have. And he automatically went and talked to Zach about it, but he said that his throat had been a little messed up, so he wasn't sure quite when, and that he might have some dinner. And after seeing the performance, I could see why. Both he and Justin give about, give about 350%, and it is incredible. And, he said, yeah, he could do it, and, a little while later, I'm not in the frame, a little while later, I, decided to go up to him. It was right before Dolt got on stage, and I had been hanging out with Dolt and Elysium, and I have some stories to tell, but I want to tell this one first. After I get the camera situated. Oh, goodness. I really need a damn tripod. If anybody would like to invest in the Ariel Needs a Tripod Fund, check the description below. I'm kidding. Do check the description, but not because of that. I'm not asking for donations. That's rude. That was a joke. And, anyway, I was hanging out with them, and I decided to walk up to Zach and ask him while he had a second, because I didn't want to bother him, because he was hanging out with other people having a good time, and I just felt rude being like, hey, so interrupting all this to ask about my interview. That just felt rude, so I didn't want to, even though I had already met him at this point. I'll explain that in a minute. And I asked him how he was feeling first, and he said, oh, I feel fine. He's like, my throat's just been a little bit messed up, and I said, I hope he wasn't getting sick. Apparently he hadn't thought about that, because he all sort of went wide-eyed. He's like, shit, I hope not. He's like, I really hope I'm not getting sick. That would suck. And I'm like, that would suck. You're in the middle of a tour. And, he asked how many questions I had, and I had about 11 to begin with, but when the actual interview happened, I had more. But, he was like, okay. And then, he asked where we should do it, because I had asked about filming, and he said absolutely that was fine. Film whatever I wanted, but because I did that, this conversation happened right as we met. He introduced himself, I introduced myself, and told him that I was sort of pressed. Mom corrected me and said, you are pressed. I'm like, okay. That feels weird for me to say for some reason. I don't feel professional enough to be like, yeah, I'm pressed. I don't know, is that weird? It's probably weird. But, I told him that, and I asked is it okay if I film? He's like, sure, film whatever you want. I don't want clothes during my set, though. He lied about that. But, obviously, I could have expected he was joking. But, I think, perhaps, maybe I should have responded with even better. But he busted out laughing, and so did Justin, so that was cool. And it was sort of funny because then when we were talking about the interview, we were both standing there trying to figure out where to film this, and we were outside. And then all of a sudden we both got hit with a raindrop. And I'm like, you want to do this later? And he's like, yeah, how about later? And I'm like, okay, good. So, I'll just go ahead and tell the story. How the interview actually ended up happening was after everybody was done. They didn't get done until probably 1 o'clock in the morning. No, it was like 12:30. It was like 12:30 when they finished. The interview started about 1:15-ish, something like that. Only interview I've done at night, by the way. Well, the latest before that had been about 6:30 in the afternoon, or evening, whatever. But that was the latest interview I've ever done. And, I want to talk about that, because that was an interesting thing. But I'll get to that. I'm all over the place, as usual. But he had done, like, a whole bunch of pictures with people. He had signed things, all sorts of stuff with him and Justin both. And I asked him, after he had talked to a bunch of people, and people started leaving him alone, so I'm like, okay, everyone's done, they're good, I can bother him now. I walked up and asked him if he had a voice, and he said, what? And I'm like, oh good, you do have a voice. He's like, yeah, surprisingly. And I'm like, you still up for an interview? And he said yes. And he was like, I have no idea where we can do it though. So we're both looking around, and apparently he decided to go meet somebody else, because I turned back around and he was gone. Like, I just didn't know where the hell he went, so he was just gone. And I turned around to his tour manager and looked at him funny, and he's like, what? And I'm like, I lost your band member. And he was like, looking around, he's like, he'll turn up. He couldn't have gone far. And I'm like, maybe he's in the bathroom. And he's like, it's possible. And come to find out, no. I had texted my mom, and I was like, I lost Zach. But come to find out, she was looking at him. I just couldn't see him because like 2 people were blocking him. But I decided, since I couldn't find him, that I would talk to Nate from Elysium about doing the interview. And I walk up to him because I could see him and asked about it, and he was like, yeah, sure. He's like, just let me, I don't remember. He said he needed to do something. I'm like, okay. So he was like, well, if you need a place to film, why don't you ask about the stage? Because there's lights over there. And I'm like, I never thought of that, because we had been trying to figure out where we could film that wasn't too dark and it wasn't necessarily too loud, which we did have to kind of work with the sound, but that happens. And right as he said that, I found Zach, walked up to him and asked about it. He said, yeah, sure. Luckily, he knew where the lights were, so he went over there and he flipped on the lights, and then he was like, let me get somebody to turn the music down. So he talked to his tour manager, he turned the music down, and me being the person I am, I literally just yelled, thank you, Matt, wherever you are. I didn't get an answer, so I don't know where he was. But whatever, he turned the music down quite a bit, so that was good. And you can watch the whole interview. It was very good. The funny thing though is I didn't realize it. I noticed about halfway through that I had an audience. Like, I knew my mom was standing there watching, but then I realized there was about 5-6 other people gathered near her watching me. And I don't know if you can actually see when I noticed in the video or not, but at one point you do notice, like I noticed, and I'm like, there's people watching. This is a first, because I had never actually had anybody actively watching me do an interview before that I was aware of, so that was definitely interesting. I learned that I can work under pressure because I actually didn't feel pressured at all. I just was like, oh, there's people here, okay. But I actually thought it was I felt bad because I wanted Justin to be involved too, but I couldn't find him. All of a sudden he just was disappeared too, like completely. And come to find out, he was talking to my mother, and he said something about he kind of wanted to go over there, but he figured I didn't want him to, that I just was there for Zach. And Mom's like, no, she thought of more questions during your set because of you, so no, go up there. So you'll actually see it in the video. At one point I waved to him because he sort of waved to me behind my friend Jeremy that was filming it. And he sat down, and I was so glad that Zach, after he finished talking, told him to come sit down, because I was about to. But I didn't want to interrupt Zach and be like, hey, come sit down. So I was so glad that Zach said it. and they both were really sweet, and just really great, genuine people. And I loved the fact that that whole night you could tell that there were no rock stars in the room, that everyone was just hanging out, having a good time, and that was a really great thing. I need to hurry up because I'm running out of camera battery. I feel like I'm probably going to end up leaving a lot of details out, and I'm really sorry about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly say a couple more things, and then hopefully I can manage to do this really quick. After the interview, Zach actually said to me that he hates doing interviews. I'm not quite sure why. I didn't think to ask. I feel like maybe he just doesn't like being put on the spot. Because he seems rather quiet, so I kind of feel like maybe that's the case, is he just doesn't like being put on the spot. But he said he liked the way I asked, so he said yes. And that's actually kind of an honor to me to hear that he really doesn't like doing interviews, but he said yes to me. And it was just really more like a conversation, and I liked that. Most of the interviews I've done have felt that way. But still, it was just nice that they were both laughing and talking. I had no idea that he didn't like doing interviews. I don't know how Justin feels about them. I didn't ask. But I got both their autographs, because Mom actually asked. I didn't even think about it, honestly. I just was thankful that they did the interview with me, and I was going to let them go because it was about 1:30 in the morning at this point. And she was like, hey, play Fangirl for a second, get their autographs. And he's like, yeah, you can play. And he had said during the interview that he was kind of weirded out by people having posters. I don't think it was because it was like a bad thing. I think the only reason he was weirded out is he still has band posters, he said. But I asked him, I'm like, does it really weird you out that people have Shinedown posters? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, would you be completely freaked out to hear that I have a Shinedown poster? And he's like, oh, that's cool. I don't. And I don't know. My mother's laughing in the background kind of works with what I'm saying. And I just thought that was cool that he just said that. It was funny. But anyway, before all of that, I'm pretty sure I mentioned what he said to me when I met him. If not, I'll put it in the description box. And before that, we were hanging out with Elysium and Dolt, and it was kind of funny because when we were introduced originally to them, they all were sitting there eating dinner, and I kept telling Jeremy to quit bugging them because he's a guitar player, as some of you guys should know, and he was trying to like show them his guitar stuff, and that was cool, but I was like, dude, let them eat. And it was kind of funny because I randomly decided to do the interview with them, with Elysium, because they were really nice, and I decided I'm going to do one with Dolt. I didn't mention it to him that night because they are local, so I could probably do that whenever. And it was funny because I said that I had felt like I had met the lead singer Tyler, and come to find out the other guy was named Matt, but I felt like I had met both of them, and it is possible, but I wasn't sure and I couldn't place it. And then all of a sudden I heard, as I was working on my questions for Elysium, Jeremy and Matt talking about the 3 Days Grace and Shinedown show from last year. I made a video about that too, that'll be linked in the description box. And all of a sudden it dawned on me that he looks like Matt Walsh, and I'm like, that's who you remind me of. And he was like, who? And I'm like, you remind me of Matt. He gave me the weirdest look, like, yeah? I didn't know why. I just explained, and he was like, oh, cool, I think. I'm like, yeah, that's a good thing. Though in all actuality, had he not been really nice, I might have just written him off, because I'm not Matt's biggest fan. I am sorry. But, I found that out the next day when Jeremy told me, yeah, his name's Matt. And I'm like, that explains the funny look that he gave me. But, they all were just really nice people, and it was really nice hanging out with them, and I really hope that Elysium comes back soon, because I would love to see them and actually just probably hang out, because they seemed extremely nice. Same with Dolt, but they live here, so I could hang out with them if I wanted to, I guess. And thank you so much to Yabo for letting me come. I mean, well, the whole venue, because there was a whole bunch of people involved, but especially Brad. I also it was just an incredible night. Honestly, it was. I have nothing more to say about that. It was just great, and I really feel like I'm leaving out a lot of things, but I'm running out of room on my camera, so I'm going to go now. Talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching. I love you. Goodbye. I'm not even in the frame.